Hey, how's it going out there today, everybody? No, I did not turn glow-in-the-dark white. The sun is like, it feels like it's like right outside my window right here. I could pull a curtain, but that would involve, having to do something, so I'm not going to do all that. I am in North Carolina today. I'm working a load that has 2 pickups, did those Friday, and 7 deliveries. I love these multiple stop frozen food loads. They pay really well, so that's why I do them. Make no bones about it. If it didn't pay well, I wouldn't do it. But yeah, I made one drop this morning, went really smooth. That was a non-lumper place. He took off 5 pallets in about, 10 minutes. I was at that location, like literally backed into a door. He pulled them off, and took him about 3 minutes to check, make sure everything was there. Bing, bam, boom. I mean, literally no more than half hour in and out. I come to the second location, they got a lumper service. So, here goes a couple hours. Those lumper services get involved, and all of a sudden it slows down the pace. But I'm not one of those guys that rags on lumpers. I understand why we have lumpers, and if you're one of those guys that say, I don't understand why they're charging me to unload their freight, you don't understand how warehousing or logistics or lumper services work. So if you're one of those guys, by all means check out my video I did on lumpers, I don't know, probably a year and a half ago. Kind of explain it a little bit to you. Not that I know everything, but I definitely know how lumpers work. I've dealt with enough of them. I've never been a lumper. I've worked in a lot of warehouses, but I've never been a lumper. So I got another delivery left on this load today, 3 more tomorrow, final out with an early one on Wednesday. Basically I'm running down 40, stopping about every 20 miles, pulling off a pallet or 2, and that's pretty much how this load works. Like I said, I don't mind doing these. Especially if you can get them for the right price from a broker that works with the customer well. That's the big thing on a lot of these multiple stops, this one seems to be okay. I do got to make a call here in a little while. I did notice over the weekend when I was trying to plan all this out, I have 2 deliveries at 10 a.m. tomorrow, and unless in the next 24 hours time travel or teleportation is sorted out, I'm not going to be able to be in 2 places at once. They're only about 20 miles from each other, so I'm hoping I can just get to the first one really early, and they get it unloaded early, because the second one is a big food service company, and man, they don't play. It says right on the bill, $100 late fee. So I'm not trying to pay a $100 late fee to a company that makes $50 billion a year as it is. They don't need my money. They just don't need it. I know they don't. But first things I want to talk about today, other than the load, and I'll get more into the numbers on the next video, but I want to talk about all this YouTube drama that about every 6 months rears its head. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to talk about that crap. I could give 2 rats behinds who said what about who. It's like, I was so happy when I got out of high school and could control the amount of drama I had in my life. At one point I had 0 drama in my life, so I started watching Spanish soap operas on Telemundo. That added in a lot of drama. So then I stopped watching that because I realized I really don't care for drama. So let's get to, let's get to trucking business. Let's get to the stuff that affects trucks and making money. Number 1, hit that subscribe button for me if you could before we get down to business. And yeah, hit that subscribe button if you like the video. Maybe like it. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. So I'm trying to get into the YouTube money. I would like to take all my YouTube money and take a vacation to Hawaii. So I figured somewhere by around like the year 2060, I'll probably be some sort of cyborg by then, you know. Who knows? But my cyborg version of me will go to Hawaii with my YouTube money. But that's how I see that shaking out. The big thing in trucking right now, the big news story, I don't know if you guys check the oil prices ever, but typically what I like to do is, you know, if I have a big weekend run, I like to finish that run kind of on the lower end of fuel, you know, just because I run it out. I don't know. I mean, if I find fuel along the way, the cheaper I'm going to get it. But, you know, typically I wait for Monday to roll around, especially if oil prices are looking crappy on Saturday, Sunday. That typically means diesel prices are going down on Monday, Tuesday. Most major truck stop chains reset diesel prices on Monday or Tuesday. So if I think prices are going to go up, I fill up. If I think they're going to go down, I try to weight it. You know, it's a whole science to properly fueling your truck. But and I'm not saying I got it all down. Trust me. There's been many a times I drive by fuel stations that have fuel cheaper than what I'm burning in my truck currently. And that's what annoys me. When I drive by a sign and that sign says a cheaper price than what I got it for, you know, minus IFTA, of course. But, oh man, just my blood begins to boil. But the big story is news about crude oil dropping. As much as down 34% last night in the futures market was oil. At one point, it got to $27.34 a barrel. You know, WTI crude down 27% to $30.04 when I checked it. Brent crude, which is like the, you know, universal standard of oil, was down 26%, $33.49 a barrel. So apparently Saudi Arabia is flooding the market. They're trying to get Russia in line, and Russia says, I ain't doing it. Russia's trying to put the American oil company or producers out. It's what's going on. It seems to be the dynamic that's happening right now. You know, so my question is, how does this affect me? Because, you know, let's face it, that's all I care about in business. How am I doing? You know, I know a lot of guys, you know, the oil fields were kind of picking back up. I've seen a few YouTube guys talking about going back to oil field work or thinking about going back to oil field work. And I just wonder if this drastic drop in price so quick, you know what I mean? If something goes down 34% in one day, you know there's oil producers reeling right now. Like, shut it all down would be my approach to it. I don't see how you could, you know, produce something for 34 or sell it, produce it and then sell it for 34% less than you were selling it for yesterday. I mean, I know oil's got a strong margin, but 34% haircuts are like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a 34% haircut. You end up with stuff like that. So I don't know. I look at it as a lot of these guys that are going back to the oil field right now, you know, I just wonder how it affects them, because I know when the oil field, everybody migrated out of the oil field last time, you know, you get some companies just shut down. A lot of them send their trucks elsewhere to do other things. You know, I know that kind of put a squeeze on the market last time, you know, and I try to think of and keep track of these things as they happen. That way, when they happen in the future, I kind of can react better to them. You know, when prices were killing it, you know, in 2017 and 2018, you know, I seen a flood of guys come in, become owner-operators. 2019, late 2018, 2019, 2020, maybe not, you know, they didn't do as well. And a lot of them, you know, were like, oh, the sky's falling. But see, I've been through it before. And I mean, I know there's guys that's rode the wave, you know, 10 times by now. Oh, hey, we're finally getting unloaded. But, you know, I've rode the wave a few times. I became an owner-operator in 2012, I think it was. So, you know, things were pretty good in 2012, 2013, 14 was really good, 15 was pretty good, fell off like a brick, you know, 16, 17 was kind of meh, 16 was pretty bad for me, of what I noticed. 17 it picked up a little bit, 18 was fire, 19 fell off again. So, you know, I think about a lot of it is, you know, trucking is 100% supply and demand. If there's too many people coming out of the oil field, you know, they're grabbing, you know, they're renting or buying dry vans. That puts more pressure on the market for rates because there's more people willing to haul it cheaper. You know, it hurts the other segments. Flatbeds an easy transition because I know there's a lot of flatbeds in the oil fields. So, you know, I just wonder how that will affect rates in the coming month. You know, it's like we're going to catch a break. I seen a news article last night I was reading that said with oil at these prices, diesel is probably going to go to under $2 a gallon within the next month. That's going to hurt a lot of contract freight. You know, I noticed when I was doing the contract freight earlier in the year, the fuel surcharge just kept coming down and coming down. And when it was up, you know, I was making money on the fuel surcharge. And then as it came down, it kind of, I was still getting better fuel mileage than they calculate the surcharge at, but there's just not enough over the base rate on a fuel surcharge to make anything on it. So it's like my profit was coming down with the fuel surcharge. So these lower rates could affect that. So be people, you know, trying to get out of contract freight, or I see that hurting that side of the business. And then we're going to have an influx of people coming out of the oil field that, you know, went back in the last, you know, 6 months. I think some of those will come back out. I hope that, you know, this is one of those little glitches, you know, when you look at the graph, you know, a year from now, you just see that one little blip where it goes down and comes right back up. But who knows? You know, these are all things you got to consider. I'm not worried about them because I'm not going to sit around and worry about things I can't control. I can't get Saudi Arabia and Russia to agree. You know, I look at this OPEC. You know, this is basically an organization of countries that aren't particularly friendly countries. They're not like, you know, it's not like Canada and Switzerland's getting together and slapping fives, you know. This is, these are some like really hard-headed, aggressive countries in OPEC. And I find it funny because, you know, we got a lot of sayings in the South, and the one I always think of with OPEC is, you know, you were born on third and thought you hit a triple. You know, a lot of these countries, you know, it's like it's all they got, and they think, you know, they think they're all that because they got some oil underneath the ground. You know, it's like, maybe you're not all that, you know, just because you got oil under the ground. Maybe you need to calm down a little bit and, you know, work together, or you're all going to go broke. But I don't know. One fun fact, BP, British Petroleum, stock down 20% overnight because of this. So, you know, we'll see how this works out in the stock market today. I would say if you own any kind of oil company, you know, I've already been seeing a little bit about, you know, some of them are going to cut that dividend. With oil prices coming down, you know, they can't pay out 7% of their income or revenue or whatever a year in dividend. You know, it's just not feasible. You know, they set that when the stock price was at 100. You know, they said, hey, we'll pay 2%. Well, if the stock price drops to $50, now we're paying 4%. You know, you see, I think they're going to have to cut the dividends. That's, you know, so I don't know. I'm trailing now, but I just thought I would tell you about this and my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think about it. You know, as always, you got to do what you got to do. You know, you just got to operate your business the best you can. And hope you make it through the good and the bad. And that's where I'm at. You know, I'm thinking we're going to, short term, we're going to see some diesel prices ease up even more than they are. I think my average fuel price for the month is like in the low 240 range or high 230s. I'd have to look at it real quick because I just bought fuel for $2.40 a gallon on my last fill up, and so yeah, I don't know. I got it in actually my last fill up was in Illinois. I bought like 80 gallons in Illinois. It was with discount. It was like $2.50 something, I think. So yeah, my average price is probably in the like mid 240s, lower 240s. So I don't know. We'll see a little bit of gain from that, but I'm wondering if it will all be lost because of people coming back into the market from the oil fields. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. That's the beauty of life. We all get to, we get to watch it play out. So we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna hop off here, everybody. I appreciate everybody watching. If you stuck with me this long, I appreciate it. Leave me a comment if you could, what you think about all this, and take care of each other out there. Later, everybody.